Hi, you've reached Call Your Publicist, your go-to source for PR moves, media moments, and brand strategies that keep businesses and people in the headlines for the right reasons. I'm one of your hosts, Jenna Guarneri, CEO and founder of JMG Public Relations.
And I'm your co-host, Alexandra Anastasio. Let's start talking.
Welcome back. We are so excited because we have Rande Iaboni, who is the supervising producer at Entertainment Tonight, former CNNer and current New Yorker.
Yes, current and forever.
Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we've known Rande for years at this point. So it's so nice I haven't seen you since before COVID.
It's been a while. Happens with the industry with COVID. I feel like we go such long stretches without seeing each other.
Which is so bizarre. And we'll have to get into that because the industry has evolved so much since we started
Very much has
together.
changed.
Yes. But I got to know. Okay, so this is like a dream job of what you have. You're working with celebrities. You're doing fun pop culture things, right? Did you have this dream when you were little of what you were going to be today?
I mean, yes and no, in the sense that I didn't know what this job was when I was little. Like, who knows what a supervising producer is? But I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment field. I was that person that had action figures, but like the superhero ones, but I was doing the Oscars with them. Like I was playing out the award shows.
You were walking the red carpet before you were walking.
Yeah. So like at like 5, 6 years old, that's what I was doing with my action figures. So I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment field, but at that age, it was like acting, writing, directing were the only jobs I knew. So I was like, I just want to do something like that. It wasn't until a little older that I figured out what this job was and that I could get into this and this would be the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that came probably when I was about 9. So for me, everything changed with the film Scream from 1996. I saw Courtney Cox's Gale Weathers and I was like, I want to be her. I was really young, but I was like, whatever she's doing, I want to do that as a job. And then it kind of flashed forward to a few years later. Entertainment Tonight is a show my parents watched all the time while I was growing up. It's for a lot of people, right? Mm-hmm. So I would always watch it with my mom while she was like on the treadmill or cooking dinner. And one night there was a set visit for a new Scream movie, a Scream 3. And that was how I learned about it, because back then we didn't really have the internet. And I was so excited. And that's when my mom was like, that's a job, you could people go to the set and get paid. And I was like, I could get paid to go to a movie set. And flash forward to this year, after 11 years at the company, I went to the Scream 7 set visit earlier this year. So very, very full circle kind of moment of just being like, this was kismet and meant to be.
That's fantastic. That's manifesting. You ever see like the children actresses or actors of how like you're seeing videos of them back then and they were born to be where they are now? It literally, that's you, the producer version.
It does feel that way, like just that I'm in the right place, right time kind of thing. When I went back for like my high school reunion, everybody was like, this is exactly what we pictured you doing. Like you did it. So I feel so grateful that like I did land from such a young age, something that I wanted, I got. So I feel grateful for that, really.
That's amazing.
Yeah, congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Not many people can say that.
No. I was going to say a lot of people start out in one path and then fast forward. They're like, I didn't expect to be here. It's okay, but maybe it's not what I originally thought out for myself. So when you started out in the industry, obviously your career has evolved over time. So how has that changed? How has there been surprises along the way? Like, obviously when you were younger, you were excited. You're like, this is what I want to do. When you get finally into it, were you like, okay, yep, this is exactly what I thought it would be? Or was there moments where you're like, all right, I'm not sure I expected this, but I'm okay with that?
Well, first I have to say, my first job out of college was CNN, and it was in the hard news area.
Okay.
So it happened that way. I interned at CNN in their entertainment unit, but when I graduated, no openings there. So they moved me into the regular newsroom. And I certainly was like, well, wait a second. I don't have experience in that. Like, I'm all about entertainment and celeb news. Come to find out, it's the same work, just different content.
Right.
So I was able to make it work. But yeah, that was definitely, I was there for a few years, and I did learn the type of news you're working on can burn you out. And so I was there for a lot of heavy stories that go on in the news. And so I just felt after a few years there, I was like, I am craving And I never want to use the word fluff because I don't think that's necessarily what we do, but I was craving news that brings joy to people.
Right.
Like, even if it's a celebrity breakup, which isn't necessarily fun for the couple, it brings joy to the viewers sometimes.
Yes.
And so for me, it was like, I just want to be bringing happier stories to people. And so that was kind of, just a surprise how I even landed at CNN, I would say, in a way. And when I first got to ET, I wouldn't say there were many surprises. I'd say the surprises have come post-COVID and the way that the industry has changed in ways that I did not expect. But when I first started 11 years ago, it was ET as I knew it as a child. And it was great. It felt like coming home to a place.
I really want to dissect what you just said about the before and after of COVID. So, let's first start though and explain for people viewing, what is a supervising producer role? What does that look like before we go into the now?
So it's kind of a really wide-ranging role in that regard, which I love because I don't love just doing one thing every day. So for me, like a day in the life, we start our day every day with a rundown meeting. So the whole staff gets involved, which I love. New York is on Zoom, LA is in person. And I would say 60% of the show is kind of backed with previous segments that we've done already, red carpets, press junkets, those types of things. 40% needs to be built that morning and within like 30 minutes to an hour of the news overnight that happened. And it's very collaborative, which I love, which isn't always the case with every show, but my executive producer, Aaron Johnson, is very like, what do we like? Tell me what is speaking to you, because we are the audience as well as the workers. And so we all kind of chip in and say what we think should be a good lead story. And that is, so that's the first part of the day. And I really enjoy that because I love talking and getting to chime in on what I like and what I'm interested in. Then from there, I field produce, which is simply just going out into the field, out of the office with a camera crew, and sometimes with an on-air correspondent or sometimes just myself. And we interview people, celebrities. So red carpets, press junkets, sit downs for book interviews, stakeouts, court, all of those types of things. I also book segments. So like one of my beats is Apple TV Plus. So any movie or TV show they do, I coordinate the booking of that, watch the shows, write the questions, do all that kind of stuff. I also write segments. So I write scripts for the show and for online. And then news gathering. Like if there's something going on and I have a source, I reach out, or going out into the field or calling police or lawyers. So honestly, today is a great day in that I did one of all of those. So it was like I did it all today. But my favorite part is the shoots. I love going out into the field. And that's what's so interesting with the COVID thing, because I would say I had been at the company for 6 years before COVID hit. And I was kind of reaching a point where I was like, I'm kind of tired of red carpets, like tired of the crowds and being pushed around. And then COVID happened and I was like, I miss red carpets so much. I will never complain about them again. And it really has been wonderful getting back into them since COVID has really ended. So that's probably the favorite part of it, is just going out and getting to, not just because of the celebrity part, but because you're not sitting at a desk at an office. You're out, with your crew and interesting people, interviewing them and all that. So.
Do you now, with COVID happening, do you find that because of us on the PR side, we work very adjacent to you guys, right? So have you noticed that there's a little bit less in person, less of that? You're going to Zoom as an option now. What is that like, digital versus in person?
What I would say is, so at first, of course, it had to be digital. It was all digital, and that was understandable. As the years have gone on, we have been pretty strict when it comes to celebrities not to really do Zooms. Usually when we're being pitched a virtual op, we immediately write back, can we do this in person? That's, I think PR's first option is to go virtual because it's cheaper, it's easier for everybody involved. For us, our audience misses that in-person thing. And with an interview, you really see, like, you do get so much more when you're in person. And I know it does cost a lot of money, but for us, it's worth it because it's just those little moments that you can have that you pick up. What has changed, though, is like talking head interviews. So if there's like a Diddy story, a lot of times we'd interview a legal expert. Let's say we'd have that legal expert come in. Now we're much more willing for that to be a Zoom. And that just makes sense all around. It's a talking head. We don't need that person in person, We don't need the little ad libs and stuff because we just need the facts straight from them. So in that regard, COVID has changed that. Like we used to go to somebody's apartment or their hotel room or wherever to interview them about a topic. And now those will just be on Zoom, which is cost effective and quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But celebrities in person.
Makes sense. I feel like you get so much more out of being in person.
And it's that connection. We always talk about, being able to connect with somebody. So sometimes when you're on Zoom, it's not that easy. Even though you are looking at the person, it's just, it still feels a little impersonal. If you can, it's a great option for when you need it to be that way.
Right.
But I agree, if you can be in person, there's something about that
and
conversation.
The celebrities like it too. I will say, like, just recently we were with Julianne Moore, and like we sat down with her and she saw us and was like, oh my God, it's a real person. I've been doing virtual interviews all day. Like, this is amazing.
Right.
So it's those moments where you realize like they miss the interpersonal kind of communication too, because there is a disconnect when it's just audio in your ear and looking at a screen. There just is. So
100%. And then there's also those opportunities where things don't go the way they should, right? You have those technical difficulties or somebody's camera's not working.
In the beginning, that was a nightmare.
Right. And then I find even still, am I looking in the right space? Do I look like I'm looking down? What am I doing?
Well, in audio, if you talk over one another, there's nothing to do with that. So,
and I'm sure they, like you just said, they probably crave that. I don't want to say attention, but they crave that as well, like that human connection, because they're so used to it. They weren't doing these Zoom interviews prior to COVID.
Exactly.
So they want to be, sitting down with you, or whether you're
absolutely
wherever they are.
I think it's a misconception that like celebrities did not want to do it anymore in person. I think that people maybe thought that. I think it's more, no, that was more cost effective for studios and networks.
Right.
But the celebrities do want to have an in-person. They want to hear from a journalist that the journalist liked their project in person.
Well, they work hard on that. So
Exactly.
they want to promote that.
And they put this whole wardrobe on and this hair and makeup, and it's like for it to just be a box instead of a full thing.
And then they might have their sweatpants on the bottom. You want the full outfit.
The full
Not
experience.
Just the work from home day.
Exactly. So what do you think when we're talking about, entertainment, and you have these meetings, right? And you're sitting in the morning and you're going over the day, what you're going to do. What do you think makes a great story? Like, whether it's news, entertainment, PR, like for you, what would get you excited to get out in that field and say, okay, or pitch it to your executive producer?
Right. Look, it is, that there's that old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. That's kind of like with local news. We're not all about like gore and all that, but I will say it really is, what is the type of story that perhaps has viral capabilities? Meaning, what's the type of story that I'm going to get a few of my friends and my mom texting me about, being like, what do you know about this story? Usually it comes down to sex, love, and death. So I would say...
Do I have your cell phone number? I might be texting you about some stories.
You do. And no, but it's one of those things of a new couple alert, like seeing a new couple together that you didn't know was together until there's photos of them holding hands or kissing. That's the type of thing that people immediately want to know. Like, are they a real thing? Is this just for show? What's how serious are they? Love, like a wedding. Everybody wants to know details of a wedding, whether it's a celebrity or not. But when you add the celebrity factor, that's just extra. And then death is incredibly sad. But you look at something like Gene Hackman's passing, and what a fascinating, tragic story there. But, there was so much to kind of explore and investigate with that story. So those are the type of things that immediately when you see it, you're like, this has layers to it. This has multiple different things that we can do.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it's the unexpected.
Yes.
And then the hallmark happy moments of these celebrities are real people.
Yes.
They found love. They have these happy moments like us. They're relatable.
And that's the thing. I think for a long time, and that is what's kind of changed with ET since my time there, is the focus more towards news, at least in the beginning of our show, right? It's like, it's built off of an A, B, C, and D blocks. And the A block is a lot of times always news.
Right.
That's kind of how we want to bring the audience in. Bring them in with something they don't know yet.
Right.
Drag them in. And then tease the stuff we've pre-taped with the bigger name celebrities and all of that. But yeah, so we're looking for a perfect combo of news and celebrity. Because sometimes there's an amazing news story, like, the Pope and all of that. But what's the celebrity connection? And so for us, it was like Conclave. Let's go towards the Conclave angle and try to interview some of them and do things like that. So it's about a story that's really newsy and interesting, but that you can find a strong celebrity angle to it.
Like, how do you get me to go down the rabbit hole?
Exactly.
Because it's just like peeling the onion, like the layers back, right?
1,000%.
There's so many. stories we'll talk about and we're like, wait, what's happening? Hold on, let me see what I can find. And then you're going down like, and you're spiraling. And then it's like an hour or two later, you're still.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of.
Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, very common case of a story that just, because we don't know, nobody knows. Nobody really knows what went on. And that's what makes that story so fascinating because everybody's trying to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
So
I have another question. When you, just because I'm fascinated about this, when you meet in the morning and you are sitting around and you're talking, obviously you only have, would you say, like a half hour to come up with that?
It's about a 30-minute meeting.
Okay, so you have 30 minutes to come up with what's going to happen for that day. Everything's riding on those 30 minutes. There has to be adrenaline pumping.
Oh, yes.
That has to get you like...
It for me, like there are times where I've had to miss that meeting and I'm like, I can't have that happen again. I feel so out of the loop. And I also, it's like my cup of coffee in the morning.
Right.
Because I'm so obsessed with this information and my brain is like a sponge. I mean, don't ask me about geography. I don't know anything about it.
Don't worry.
But my brain is a sponge for this type of information. And so it's such a rush getting to just talk about this stuff with everybody else that's just as interested as I am. And it's such an open floor. Like you're able to kind of not debate, but you're open to saying, I don't know if I do like that story because of X, Y, and Z, or, and really kind of make decisions and hash it out. And yeah, it gets my whole day started.
So it's definitely a collaborative,
super collaborative
conversation.
Which I've never experienced before. And to be clear, I've had a number of EPs, executive producers, during my time at ET. But this, for the last 6 years or 5 years, that's another thing with COVID. Like the Zoom situation with being part of that meeting wasn't always possible for the New York folks. We just are so much more included and involved now since then. So that's one bonus that's come from that. And it's so collaborative.
That's nice. And Zoom has created so much for us, and it bridges the gap for when you need that connection. So I love that you said that the East Coast and the West Coast, it's a team collaboration. And that's like any team anywhere. It's like what we do here. We're on Zoom all the time and we feel so connected.
Yeah.
And it's in those moments that the brainstorming happens. It's so key to be able to discuss things, hash it out, and also bounce off of each other. And that's what excitement is.
And it's like a puzzle. I say, I like this story. And then somebody else is like, well, then we can go right to this story because there's a connector. Like that person was in this movie who's in this story. And so everybody jumps in and it's like a jigsaw puzzle that we put together. And within 30 minutes, we do it. And it's beautiful. I mean, I would say, obviously, if breaking news happens within the day, there are changes, of course. But just what we're starting with, it's a brainstorming session, like hardcore for 30 minutes of everybody.
So I have to ask this because you've met so many fascinating people. Can you name names of your favorites?
Yeah, I absolutely can. I absolutely can.
Bring it on.
Well, so the first one I have to give, which is kind of random, but is Bette Midler.
Oh.
I say Bette Midler because I had been at ET for maybe a month. And I was, my first day, they threw me out there. I was interviewing Whoopi Goldberg, Rosie O'Donnell, and I was maybe not totally up for it. It was I was very in my head and very thinking I'm not doing this right. I'm not nailing this. And it took a while. And Bette Midler had an album coming up and I had to do a junket, a sit down interview with her. And I went in and I just, I prepped and I did how I normally do. And she was very, very sweet and I left. But when they sent us the footage, they had kept rolling after. And afterwards, she said to the team in the room, that's how you do an interview.
Oh, and I got on record.
I would have started crying.
It just kind of gave me what I needed. It was what I needed to hear. To be you do know what you're doing. Stop being so in your head. We are our biggest criticizers. So 100%. Bette Midler has always represented that for me just because it was that moment that it clicked. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So that one was a fantastic experience. Celebrities that I never will be upset about hearing I have to interview. Sarah Jessica Parker. Oh, what a dream. SJP is as nice as can be. She's so generous. I feel with her time, when you interview her, a lot of times on a red carpet with celebrities, you can feel you're rushed. You can feel okay, I got to get to my next question. But with her, it really feels like a combo. And I've had experiences with her where we're sitting down and I'm asking, and then, the publicist is saying, your time is up. And she's like, no, he's so nice. Let him ask a couple more. You don't get that often. So that is very, very special of her.
And I imagine too, just like trying to put myself in their shoes, is that it's very hard to be present as the celebrity because you have so much commotion going on around
and
you.
you're doing 50 interviews in a row with the same topic.
Right.
And I commend her because I have watched her give different answers for same questions, which not every celebrity does. And I don't expect that from all of them because that's a lot. But that's what I say when I mean she's so generous and thoughtful. She really is understanding of the industry and what it takes. And she's really grateful and just such a joy. So love hearing, love when, any chance I get to be with her. Hugh Jackman, really nice guy, really, really nice guy. But never had an issue with him myself. And what I'll say is he remembers your name, and he's the type of celeb to really thank you for being there. And I think that is somewhat of a disconnect in this industry, is that some celebrities get it and are like, thank you for being here to promote my project. And then there's others that feel like they're annoyed that they have to be doing it, and they're giving you a gift by allowing you to be there with them. And so Hugh Jackman is someone who just never makes you feel that way. He makes you feel like he's grateful you're there. Whether it's true or not, he makes you feel that way. And that's wonderful. The last one is, again, it's an interesting one because it's like personal life, don't know, but Tom Cruise is such a pro. I would say I've never experienced something like this. When you're at a premiere for any of his films, they have like pits set up with fans, and he arrives first and everyone will get silent, which is not very common on a red carpet. And he will go up to every single fan. I mean it, every single fan. So we're talking like 200 fans. Each one individually shake their hand, take a photo, and have a little anecdote moment with them, and then come and do the interviews.
Wow.
And he shows up immediately on time so that you're not super delayed by that or anything. But I've witnessed a lot of celebs run up to the pits and kind of sign things. He actually gives individual time with every single fan.
And that takes a lot of energy.
And he never feels like his energy is down. He is always up and ready to go. So I've never had a bad experience with him.
Wow. And I'm wondering if there's a correlation with these OG
Absolutely
celebrities.
there is.
They've been around and doing this versus some maybe newer ones, or even maybe reality stars. I'd be interested to know. Is there a correlation with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes with the rise of TMZ. TMZ changed our industry forever. E.T., when I grew up, the lead story was a set visit, a red carpet, and it was fashion and glamour, and it still is all of that stuff. But TMZ changed the game because it taught people at home, oh, these celebrities get in trouble. Like, you didn't know it, but because people have been covering for them, but these celebrities get in trouble. And that became the thing. Everybody is obsessed with wanting, like you said, celebrities, they're just like us. So we all find ourselves in trouble sometimes.
Right.
Maybe not their level, but regardless, we want to know about it,
Right.
And so that is kind of where the directive changed, where it's like, be more newsy. But so the celebrities that became famous during the TMZ era have such a different understanding and idea of what fame is, which I can totally understand why. But yeah, so you've got the George Clooney's and the Brad Pitts and the Angelina Jolie and Tom Cruise. Those right now for us are vintage movie stars.
Their legacy.
And they get it. They show up first as opposed to last, which you get with a lot of the younger generation stars. They think, oh, it's my movie premiere, I'm showing up last. These older ones, and I don't mean older as in old age, I just mean they've been here.
They're
for
very
a while.
well established,
Exactly.
and they are veterans of their craft.
Exactly.
And I think it's a little bit of a different time then, because the mentality and the way in which they treat you, the journalist, or you, the fan, is a little different, because they're grateful, they're appreciative.
Yes.
This is their life,
and it's the only world they know.
Exactly, and they worked really hard to get where they are. So the fans are who makes them, really. And so are the journalists, because if you write something that's not positive, that's not good. So they should be appreciative, because if the fans aren't out there, who's coming to your movie or who's watching your show? Well,
and that's what I wish I could just say to all of them, the ones that maybe don't want to be doing the press.
Right.
I have a funny story with Busy Phillips. Once for Girls 5 Ever, we were doing a junket and we decided to do something cute where we had all the girls like kind of interview each other like down the line. And one of them wasn't totally getting it. And Busy Phillips was like, no, this is what people watch. Like my daughter the other day was just watching YouTube videos of this kind of stuff, of like cast members interviewing each other or answering fun facts. Like this is what sells the product. Like, and Busy Phillips was like, let's go, like game on, like let's put all our energy into this. Like she got it. So I do wish more celebrities understood we really are there to try and help them and promote them. We're not ever looking to make somebody look bad. We really are not. We certainly have plenty of unaired clips of maybe bad behavior. We don't air it because that's not what our show or our brand is about. And I think that social media, which I'm sure we'll get to, has played a huge role also in the change of this. And that's why I mentioned some of those veteran stars aren't huge on social media. And that's why, so they do still respect the journalist and the sit down interview, because for them, that's the way to get the message out. They don't want to get on their cell phone and post some content themselves. That's not how they want to do it. Whereas the younger generation prefers to kind of have that agency and do it themselves.
Social media is a good topic. How have you seen, or how has your role changed with the explosion of social media? Has that affected you guys?
Hugely. I mean, first off, celebrities, fans now have access to celebrities in a way that they didn't have before. Like I said, I found out there was a new Scream movie when I was 9 because it was on ET. That is how you learned about news back then. Now, a lot of people are learning news from social media posts, and you get social media announcements from actors about projects they're in, or BTS photos of them on the set. And so that's definitely changed, I would say, for good and bad, in the sense of the bad is we don't have, they don't see as much of a need for us because they're like, my Twitter or Instagram or TikTok has this many followers and I could just do one quick video promoting my project and think that's enough. That's only one demo they're getting, but they think, that's enough, particularly. But on the good side, when they do share that BTS stuff, we can make a story out of that. Now we've got content that we maybe wouldn't have had before because we weren't there, and they're sharing stuff, and we can compile all of that and make it into something bigger. Or it gives us topics to talk to the stars about, because once they post it, it becomes fair game to talk about. And then there's an element to the topic you're talking about. So it's helped us and it's hurt us. In terms of my work, we definitely, when we're out in the field, there's a huge priority to be capturing social video so that we can immediately get that up on our social channels to promote it. So on a red carpet, it's like, we'll have a professional camera filming the B-roll of the stars posing, but they still want me to grab it on my cell phone so we can get that up right away on our socials, because it's all about immediacy now.
Absolutely.
So,
everybody wants things instantaneously.
Right away. And our social team is fantastic, but that's one, like when I first started, don't think we had one. And here we are now. It's a locked and loaded team that's fantastic. So it's changed so much, but I think it's great. And again, that's where I say, I know these celebrities, the younger ones, want to take the agency and maybe post themselves, but with, something like Entertainment Tonight, you're sitting down, you do one interview, and what you get out of that is a broadcast piece, a social piece, and an online piece. You're getting 3 demos right there. 3 different age
there's
brackets.
The credibility level. I mean, ET is covering it. That's a big deal. It adds credibility aside from you posting about yourself and being like, oh, I have this project. It's very different when someone else is doing it for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, because of this TMZ age, you have some real fear. There's some real anxiety that these stars have of, what am I going to be asked? And I would love if, instead of them just being so scared and saying, we're not going to do this interview, tell us what your concern is in advance, and we can kind of get into that. But transparency is so key to me. It's like, if this is a topic you don't want to talk about, this is something we can work through and avoid and figure out something else to talk about, instead of you just thinking we're going to go rogue and do it. Like, let's talk it out. So I definitely want it to be more collaborative in that way too, if it could be.
I was going to say, it's interesting to see how that medium has changed and how it's evolved, and how when you first start out, from when you started on your first, I wouldn't say the exact first day, but when you first got into the business to where it is now. It's interesting. It's exciting. It can be challenging too, right? Because like you said, when you go out now, you have to get behind the scenes for your social, right? So on top of all that you have to do already, there's that extra level of, okay, wait, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and now I got to make sure I do this. But like you said, it brings another layer to what you're sharing with your audience. So It's all for a good reason.
Yeah, that's the thing. To me, it's like I'm on this red carpet and I'm like, I've got multiple jobs. I'm juggling. I'm okay with doing that. And yes, it is an added thing for sure. But like you said, the way that I look at it is I'm like, this just helps us get the younger demo, which I want. I want, I want younger audiences watching ET like I did with my parents growing up.
Right.
And I know that they maybe aren't, but they're probably catching it on social media. And that's what gives me a little bit of hope, at least. It's maybe the days of a kid turning on the television and watching ET may not be happening right now so much, but they absolutely are seeing the viral clips and stuff that go on social media. So there's a reason for it. Right. So I just rationalize it that way.
They may be on your Instagram versus or your TikTok versus going on your, TV. So.
And like, what kids have TVs anymore?
I know. I don't think they do.
Don't think they do. So that's why there really is a push towards the social and the digital. And I don't have an issue with it because I'm like, this is more audience. This
Absolutely.
is what we want.
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned something about when you have celebrities who are maybe a bit afraid, right, to have that conversation because they don't know what they're going to be asked. Do you find that they ask for questions ahead of time? I know a lot of times I used to, do celebrity interviews and I would have to submit the questions ahead of time so that the publicist would see what direction I was going to go in. And I would always say, if there's a question on there that they're not comfortable talking about, just strike it. I'm not here to tell a bad story or a salacious story.
Right.
I'm here to tell a good story and maybe share the parts of that person with the audience that maybe the audience doesn't know.
Right.
Because especially if it's a higher celebrity, there's there's
millions
out there, right? But there's also a million stories out there.
Yeah.
So I don't want my story to be the same as everybody else's.
Right.
I want that person, sort of like your Bette Midler moment when she said, well, that's a good interview, right? Ask those questions that are going to get your person thinking and energized and excited to talk to you about it. It's those little nuggets.
Well, so for us, we definitely do get asked to send questions in advance. I don't know what it was before my time, but we have adopted a policy of absolutely not, will not do that no matter what. So we refuse to send questions. What we will do is we'll send talking points. Okay. So like bullet points of just general ideas. Really what the biggest thing is, and it's really with my current executive producer, kind of a change that we're doing that I love is with each shoot, we take an angle. Like, why are we covering this? What is the fundamental foundational reason that we are covering this interview? And it should be based in something that's not a gotcha question because that's a gamble. So our foundational reason for covering something needs to be something legitimate that we know they're going to give a good amount of sound on. And then the extra things are, bonus points if you get. So that's kind of how we rationalize, are we covering something or are we not? What's the foundational reason? What is the angle we're taking? And let the publicist know that. And that will often help by saying, hey, we are not looking to go down this route or this route. We're looking to do this kind of a piece. And so, hey, I can't give you the exact questions, but I can tell you where it's headed. And that usually puts them at ease.
That's great. And so for our viewers, what I would love to chat about is about what you think is interesting to your audience versus what a publicist thinks is interesting, but also to break down for our viewers of what our relationship is like from the PR standpoint to the media standpoint. So like for me, I've pitched you in the past with some of our clients, right? So we're actually going out into the field, coming up with interesting stories and sending them to you and saying, hey, do you want to cover the story? We're like the middleman.
Yes.
So from your perspective for getting that pitch, what makes you say, okay, this is interesting, I want to take this. Our audience is going to like this.
Yeah.
Versus when a publicist comes to you and you're like, you think this is interesting, but this is just
or the time I'm reading the pitch and I'm like, I know this publicist doesn't even think this is a good idea. That happens too sometimes.
And I have to laugh too, because I will never send something like that where it's just like, come on, just tell the client it's just not interesting.
I appreciate that from you. We don't get it from everyone. Sometimes we get the pitches and I'm like, you don't believe this. You won't just try to. But
that when you still,
obviously we have like a short list of celebrities that no matter what they're doing, we're going to cover kind of thing. So It's like Tom Hanks, Dolly Parton, we're there, whatever you're doing kind of thing. But in terms of just a general pitch, it is kind of like what you were just saying, something different. Like, we don't like when we're pitched a junket, usually the first thing we ask is, well, is there something special or different we can do outside of the junket setup? our questions are going to be, we come up with our own questions, but they're going to be relatively similar to what some of our competitors do. And so the goal is make this look a little bit different, which means, can we go home with them? Can we go to their favorite bar and do the interview? Can we do like a different setting? Is there something nostalgic about it? Does this person have an anniversary coming up? The thing is, I feel like a lot of times publicists, obviously you're working for a brand and a celebrity is attached to the brand. We know that, of course, but if the pitch is front loaded with the brand, it's an immediate turnoff. And that's not a personal thing. That's more a network thing, because
Right.
it's like, well, that sounds like an
Right.
ad. That doesn't sound like a creative
Right.
interview. So front facing celebrity, what are some of the talking points that they can address, and don't make it just about the brand. Find out what movies they have coming up. And I know sometimes the celebrity isn't going to agree to all of that. You have to kind of negotiate with them. But I'm just saying, on our end, what'll make us say yes is if in those bullet points it's movies that they have coming up or a movie anniversary. We love nostalgia. Or if it's just somebody that it's timely for when it's coming out, I guess you could say. So like, if it just, Heidi Klum has something coming out in October, she's the queen of Halloween, then that's like a good time to be pitching her. So it's also like knowing when to grab celebs at which time. If it's reality stars, grab the Summer House cast when their show is going to be winding down to the finale, when people are going to want to talk to them, or something like that is just kind of how I would think publicists can really grab our attention. And I'd also say, in terms of the working relationship, it's always about transparency. So it's saying like, I know the brand plug is not exactly ideal, but we can find an organic way to bring this in and not make it all about that. Because I think that at the end of the day, it's a tough situation on, like you said, you guys are the middlemen, and sometimes I'm the middleman in my own company of like, I think we should do this. And the company's like, I think we should too, but we can't do that plug because we need to be getting some kind of integration type money because it feels too much like an ad. So if the publicist can at least acknowledge, like, we know that this is, we've got a brand plug, but here's a way to bring it into like an organic celebrity connection
Right.
for this person. Do that idea for us. It's not like do the work for us, but give me a visual of what this is going to look like, and give me an idea of what I can take to my team so that I can also kind of bury that brand and really make it seem like I want them to be able to picture what it's going to look like. And if I start with a brand or say this celebrity is promoting this brand, they stop right there and they're like, okay. So yeah, I would say front-facing celebrity and then finding an organic, natural way to include the brand and vocalizing that.
I love everything you're saying here, because I do think it's the job of the publicist to keep a delicate balance of the two relationships they have going on both ends, right? You have the client and then you have the media person. At the end of the day, you control it, and we need to make sure you're super happy with it. So we have to be transparent with the client and say, this isn't an advertorial. This isn't a paid segment. We can't just make it fully about the product. It has to be about the celebrity, and then they'll name drop the product, right? At the end of the day, that's how it works. But I think it's the job of the publicist in that transaction to be transparent on both sides and really explain why, in order to make this work and happy for everyone, this is what needs to happen.
I think a term that I love to use too is one for you, one for us, meaning we will give you that plug, but then you got to give us a good bite not related to that plug, right? If every single question has to be connected to this medicine that you're on or this product that you are using, that's just not interesting. It's nothing personal. It's just, would that interest you? Unless you're into the product, you're not going to be interested. So it's, give us something. Let us ask about your marriage or your kids or a really big movie or an anniversary or something like that. And then we will ask you all about this product. And so it's one for us, one for you. It can't just be one person winning. We want them to win too. We want everybody to walk away from it. I never want to walk away from a shoot where any party is upset. I want us to be happy. I want the publicist to be happy and the star or the client to be happy, which is a hard thing to pull off. But I think we've done it before. It's absolutely possible to do, but it takes the transparency. Because I've also had reps say things like, yeah, they'll be fine to talk about that. And then you show up and it's, no, we can't talk about that. And it's like, I think you knew and you didn't say anything because you knew I wouldn't show up.
Right.
And I'm never more grateful than when a publicist reaches out saying, hey, I know you were coming to this red carpet, but I did need to let you know so-and-so's not coming anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that might change your situation. I appreciate that because even though they may lose some coverage, they've earned my respect right there for knowing, okay, well, when they pitch me something, they're coming 100 then because I know they're going to tell me the truth if this is happening.
And I think the mistake a lot of publicists make is that they treat the relationship with the media person as transactional.
Yes.
I need to get this because then my client will be happy. I. Whereas, like you said, the one for one, everyone is happy at the end of the day if we could find that delicate balance for everyone. But you have to respect the media person and what their job is and what you have to deliver to your boss and to your audience. And then figuring that out, that will make for a successful long-term relationship, like you said.
And I mean, I think a lot of the question that people have too is like, well, how do you do all this so quickly when you're on a deadline and you've got this interview down and you're working all these out? And I think that's what comes in when we say we go in with an angle. So if you're going in with an angle, it's like the script is almost writing itself as you're doing the interview because there's a flow and there's a purpose for everything of what you're trying to get out of it. So.
Well, that's the importance of what you both are talking about. It's collaboration. Yeah. So if you're not collaborating with each other, then it's never going to work out because then one side is coming in just like, I need this from you. Okay, well, what are you going to give to me? So making that happy medium and then everybody walks away a winner.
Absolutely. And it's even as simple as like, okay, they've got this new product out, but let's do something with it, right? Like, let's go, if they've got a wine out, like let's go to the winery. Let's go to the vineyard. Or let's sit and do like a game with the wine. Like come up with fun, creative ideas. And we do it too. Like we come up with ideas ourselves and pitch them out. But you have a less chance of getting that through if it's coming from the journalist's point of view. But if the publicist comes in and is like, hey, they're open to doing something a little outside of just a standard interview.
I always say with our team, it's that third element. You got to bring them the third element when you're pitching the reporter out something interesting. It's got to add that layer, that extra something that will entice the viewer to keep watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's almost like if you think about it on social media, right? When you see and you're scrolling, nobody wants to feel like they're being sold something because then they don't feel like they trust you in the sense that they feel like all you want to do is sell me something, right? They want to connect with you authentically. They want to feel like they know you. And then when you bring out your product or your brand, then they're going to say, oh my God, I love so-and-so. Of course I'm going to buy that. Or of course I'm going to do whatever it is they're promoting.
Yes.
So I feel like it would be the same for what you're doing in the sense that if I was a celebrity and I had a product, I am. But seriously, I would really want to connect with the audience. I'd want them to like me and I'd want to share something so that then when they would maybe they weren't a fan and now they are and they start following. And whatever it is I have just naturally sells itself to them as opposed to me saying, promoting like, here's my new whatever it is. And you need to buy this for this reason. I just feel like nobody wants to feel like products or experiences are being shoved down their throat.
And I think that's what social media is for.
Right.
Feel free to post on social media your product.
No, and I think people there don't even want to feel like that.
For sure. But that's the place for it, I guess, because that's just you posting what you want. But with an interview, And I also think the celebrity has to be a good match for the product. Sometimes I'll get a pitch and I'll be like, this art installation is paired with Lenny Kravitz. Why? Like, what's the connection? And sometimes you don't get it.
If it doesn't make sense, and like, your audience is not going to buy it.
Yeah. And so I think a great example, I'm not sure if everyone's aware of her, but Paige DeSorbo from Summer House just dropped like a sleepwear line where it's clothes to like lay in bed. Because if anybody who watches Summer House knows, that's all she does. She is known as the bed bug and bed rotting, and she just never gets out of bed. She loves to chill in bed. And so she had a great quote in an article I read today where she was like, I've been offered a lot of brands before, but I've been like, well, why would my audience be into that? Like, I want to go for something that's me, that represents me. So sleepwear is what her audience and her fans would like. So
it's a smart move.
Yeah. So I just think it's all about making sure the celebrity has a legitimate connection to it, whether it's related to one of their previous projects or it's something we know about their personality, if it's a dog brand, make sure that celebrity has a dog.
Not
please. A cat. Yeah. Just saying.
We're not going, okay, get this dog away from me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's the thing. Like that's what you're looking for.
That makes sense. Now I'm curious. Okay, so we have some viewers out there who may not want to be a publicist, but they may want to be a little bit. They want to be Randy.
Yeah.
What is your advice for anyone that has these dreams to be in the media world like you are today?
So first of all, I would say internships. I went to NYU for media studies, but none of that mattered. I would say not a single job interview I've ever had in my life has been like, what did you major in and what did you learn at school? No. It's always, at least in this industry, it is who do you know? What experience do you have? What connections are there here? And so I learned that very quickly, obviously being in what I believe to be the best city in the world, and that made it easy. I was able to have an internship every single semester. So I had 8 internships across my time
Wow.
at NYU.
That might be the most I've ever heard.
I
started
you were booked and busy.
I was. So I started because I didn't know exactly what to do either. So I was
like, smart move.
Yeah.
Test it all out for 3 months.
My first internship was at a casting agency. Great, but I was like, I want to be a little bit more involved past that stage, like not just sending people on auditions. So then I did an internship that was like development. So it was like developing like reality shows and stuff like that. And again, I was like, I like this, but I want to be in the actual action once you do develop the show. And then that's when I started to get more into the production internships. But I even had post-production thrown in. I interned at IFC Films, where I would watch foreign films without subtitles and try to catch like any problems with the film. Like if there was like a blip or a bubble in the reel or anything like that.
I would have said the problem was there was no subtitles.
Well, that would have been one. Well, or I'd watch them with subtitles and have to like know if, because
I would be so lost.
Yeah, so I tried it all. But with the post-production internship, my favorite part of it was coming up with the trailers for the movies. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started to realize like, okay, I think I'm interested in like the release and the promotion of things and that kind of stage. And so then that's where I landed at ET first as an internship, and just was like, this is it. This just feels like home. But again, I got that job because of my previous internship. And then after ET's internship is when I got my CNN internship, which led to my job. But so each internship led to the next because that was what they were asking me on the interviews. It wasn't tell me about this course or this class you have. It was tell me what you did and who you interacted with and all of that stuff. The other thing I would say, though, is you have to be willing to make sacrifices, which a lot of young up-and-comers do not want to hear, which is a bummer. It's not necessarily fair, but with this industry, I mean, even in my senior year of college with just the internship that I had, I remember I would have to get up at like 7 a.m. on certain days. So the going out on Thursdays was gone. You have to give that up and be like, well, it's senior year of college. It's time to start thinking about the job. Mm-hmm. And I would say as early, when I started at CNN in my early years at ET, you don't say no. Any opportunity that comes your way, you jump at it. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to say no. Like I wanted to do everything. And so I would say because of that, though, I certainly missed out on a lot of personal things, whether that's, family time, friend time, dates, whatever it may be. But you have to be like at peace with making those decisions. Like you can't be like, I gave that up for my job. It's like, no, I chose my career because I love it. And like, to me, it's not just a job. Like this is what I love.
You have to be passionate about what you're doing because then those things that you are saying no to, you're okay with it. Like you just said, you make peace with it. Yes, your friends may be out on a Thursday night while you're going to sleep because you're going to be up in a few hours, but think of why you're waking up early. Yeah. You're going and getting to do something that is going to carry you forward. It's not just going to happen for that month and then it's over. It's leading you to the next spot.
And it's changing that mentality of I have to do this to I get to do this.
Right.
Because that used to happen a lot for me. It used to be, I'm sorry, I can't come because I have to go to this place and do this and travel to this place. And now I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm going to get to go to this event. And there's no sorry there because it's my job and it's what I love. And, you should understand that. And I have never had somebody not understand that because they know how important this is to me.
Absolutely. I mean, you're getting to meet or interview. You're sitting down with a Tom Cruise, a Pat Midler.
Yeah.
I'll pass on that bar opportunity to be doing some of those
Well, and even
fantastic things.
it could be an individual thing that day that I don't necessarily want to do, but it's about the bigger picture too, right? It's just building this career that I'm really proud of having. And, I just feel like it came from me making sacrifices, and I'm at peace with making those sacrifices because it's gotten me to where I am, and it's made me my work ethic, it's just really made it better too. And now when I do say no, it's because I really need to. I'm able to make the decision of like, no, I need to say no to this for myself, and I'm not going to feel bad. I don't feel bad about it at all in that situation then.
So when we're talking about, having these opportunities, right? Like because you're saying no to something, but because it's for the greater opportunity, right? It's something you're working on project wise. So these projects all come with deadlines, right? So now there's that pressure. So you have to be awake, you have to be on, you have to be creative, right? Because you have to be present in that moment. So how do you balance that creativity with that structure, with that deadline? Because let's say, you wake up, it's 7 a.m. and it's on, or whatever time you get up. Like you're heading into the office, you have 30 minutes to have that conversation of what's the day like. Now you have to be creative in what you come up with. You have to meet those deadlines. I don't think you saying to your boss, I'm going to be about 5 minutes late with that story, though. That does not work.
Nope.
We go on air. So I feel like I would think your brain would be like, okay, the adrenaline's pumping. I got to get that creativity side going. And, oh, wait, what time is it? How much time do I have?
Yeah. I mean, look, right at this point, it's second nature. Like at this point, it just comes to me. It's the way that my brain works, like to the point where I wonder, like, if I ever went somewhere else, like, I think my brain would immediately go to certain areas that they'd be like, why do you care about that? And it's like, oh, I'm just kind of trained to make my mind work in that way. What I would say is the biggest help is teamwork. We don't do anything completely alone, And so it's like, I have an office filled with incredibly creative people, whether that's the LA office or the New York office. And we have an entire Slack channel that's just called Questions. And you can go in there and say, I have a shoot coming up with these people. What are some interesting things you think that we could ask? And everybody from the company chimes in and gives ideas. And you don't have to take all of them, but it gives you a jumping off point. Just standing up in the office and saying, hey, does anybody have an idea, or does anybody remember this or that or whatever? It's really learning to rely on other people and trust them and like trust your fellow colleagues with their judgment and things like that, because you can't carry the ship by yourself.
Right.
I don't think there's any task at ET that I've ever done that was just me, because I've got a crew with me, or I have a correspondent with me, or I've got a production assistant transcribing my footage, or we have a research team that's correcting questions that maybe aren't correct. Right. And then when we're writing a piece, you've got your editor, and so it's really leaning on other people and knowing what other people's strengths are as well. If it's something horror movie related, my company is like, go to Rande immediately. He will know the exact time code that this character says this in this movie. If it's something sports related, don't come to me. So it's that. It's knowing.
Yeah. And we talk about that
all the time. It seems like every time we talk to someone, they have an amazing team. Yeah. Because you can't do big things alone. You can start it, you can get to only so far, but to do big things is you need to bring in everybody, all the experts together.
And I don't want to do it alone. Like that was a real struggle during COVID, was working from home and just doing everything on Zoom. I was like, I really miss being able to sit in my coworker's office and go over questions together. Right. Because you could write questions and think they sound great, and then somebody else could read them and be like, this is rude, this question. You should maybe tweak that.
Can you
please do not answer
and question? It's like, oh, well, I'm glad I checked with you. Like, I wasn't thinking. I always want a fresh set of eyes on whatever I'm working on. And so I really rely on that and really love that we have that in our office.
I have to say, one of the things I just took away that I just learned is that media people are like the PR people. We're all on Slack.
Yes. So it's funny.
I'm like everyone Friday morning.
I was thinking about this because we just did this last week when you said in your Slack channel, you have the channel called Questions, and you can put in the questions. We just did this not on Slack, but we jumped on a quick Zoom because one of our PR teams needed some feedback, some input, and we all came together to be able to contribute and help them out. So again, that's where
the message did get sent out on Slack, though.
Yes. Well, the message started on Slack.
It all starts on Slack, doesn't it?
Yes. It started on Slack and then it came to a room. But it's the equivalent of you being in the room and standing up and saying, hey, I got a question. Does anybody have this?
And not being afraid to do that.
Right.
Because I think
saying,
certain
I need your help. Can you?
Certain companies are like maybe not always pushing for that. Where I work, and it seems like yours as well, they are very much like, utilize your coworkers.
Absolutely.
Like, go to that channel and ask them, because all of these people work here for a reason, right? And so it's taking advantage of that. And I didn't know how reliant we were on Slack until like a couple months ago. Slack was down for a day.
No. Do you remember that day?
It was actually the day of Michelle Trachtenberg's passing.
Oh.
And it was just, whoa. It was really hard to communicate.
We had to email each other.
Could you
Who
imagine? We had to
does
pick
that?
up the phone.
I can't. It's almost like, do you know, like when, I don't know when this was, like months ago, AT&T, maybe it was last year, had an outage. And my phone, I felt like a limb was just missing. And I said, oh God, thank God my work phone is T-Mobile.
And look, we still,
That's terrible. That
we
I felt
got,
like that.
we got everything out, but I agree. I was like, when it came back, I was like, thank God Slack is back, because you know what? You can tag people,
Right.
so they got no excuse for ignoring you.
Right.
It's like, I know you didn't miss this. You can say you missed a text or an email, but you can't say you missed
You can
this
also tell when
tag.
people are online and
Correct.
paying attention.
You know, that's funny because I never realized yet. This was the first time I ever used Slack coming to this company. People always think like I never go to sleep because I never pause my notifications. It probably looks like I work Monday through Sunday.
And I don't know how to do it.
No, so I'm always online, but I'm not online.
My
because I
younger
don't
kids,
know.
I'll see they'll note when they're like in a meeting, when they're sick, when they're, and I'm like, how do you do
I
all
just
that?
X out and close out.
Oh, I
So
know.
why? But it leaves you as open still.
Wait, so I have two things.
Yeah.
One is, so like this message she's talking about was relative, or the brainstorm session was relative to the Knicks hype and all the celebrities, right? Did you feel that too on the media side, where we're like, we need to rush and get something done for our clients. We need to come up with ideas. Everyone on the call now.
With the Knicks
Well,
specifically, or
in
anything?
general,
I mean,
like, that was just recent.
you know, with anything, I think I'm at least somebody who's a preparer. Like, I don't like to write questions for a shoot the day before. I'm more like a few days before.
Right.
There are some shoots that come through last minute, and you've got to do that, and you do have a little bit of an urgency to it. But what I'll say is like, if I have a shoot, let's say this Friday, today would be a great day to like send the message to the group, and people want to help and want to answer. And they'll do it right then and there in that moment. Like you said, like they won't wait though. So I'll be asking way far in advance. It's not like, oh my God, this is urgent. I need it now. But I do it like a week in advance, and I get all the questions there. And, you know, I don't always utilize it because sometimes you've got a celebrity where it's like, I'm good. We have too much to ask them about. But sometimes you want to get creative, like we said. So, but I would say everybody has this collective idea of wanting to help one another at the company and working like to get the best interview. Nobody's trying to get credit like, oh, I came up with that question. It's like we all have incredible questions at one point.
And wasn't that, and perhaps it's an old mindset and maybe we just are now accustomed to it, but there was at one point where it was so competitive to be, publicists would compete with each other and be like, I got that, that's mine, I'll stay later because I'm staying in the office longer than you, or just to say I stayed longer. Like, there's this competitiveness. Did you ever feel that in media?
I think at CNN, there was that a little bit. I loved it though, for the record, but like there was about 30 of us in the newsroom and we were all under 30. So we were like fresh out of college, all working together. And it was competitive because there was limited roles and limited staff positions and moving up and things like that. So it got competitive on that front because it was a numbers game. It was literally knowing, okay, this position just left, so there's one position to be filled, and there's 20 of you candidates. So it did get competitive.
The clause came out.
Not the clause, but feelings could definitely be hurt, like because choices were made, and then people are like, "Well, you got a promotion and I didn't, just because you've been here a month longer than me. Like, why?
Right.
So I definitely felt competitiveness during that phase. At ET, I have not really felt it. I haven't, and I think that is probably more just me though, and evolving and learning to kind of stand in my own confidence of like, I know what I bring to the table. I know what I offer. And in no way do I need to step on anyone's toes to prove that. And that would like devastate me if I did, kind of thing. So I would say ET, I don't feel it, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I would say this industry is very competitive. You know, we'll have an entry-level worker leave and we'll get 1,000 applications in one day for that posting, and it's $20 an hour kind of thing, you know. So that just shows how many people want to be doing what we're doing. But that's where I come from, a place of feeling really grateful and lucky that I am here. And it gives me the confidence, though, of like, I got here on my own. So in no way do I need to be competitive with somebody else. I've got my confidence, so I'm okay there. But it's there. It exists in this industry.
Well, I think that too comes with maturity in terms of you've kind of climbed those ropes, you've seen those jobs, you've done all those, you know, positions in or those tasks that take you to the next level. So that's why I think when this younger generation, sometimes like we were saying, they might not be wanting to get up earlier or give up something. But think about it, when one open position is available, how many people are applying for that? So you have to bring the best of yourself and then some, because what makes you stand out, what makes you shine. And when you do move up those ranks, like you said, you appreciate it because you know what it took to get there. And so you're not competing with anybody else. And I think we don't have to. We know what we all know in ourselves what we bring to our roles, and then the people who are around us and who support us, how they help elevate us and help make us better.
I think if you're getting competitive, it means you're insecure about something.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm not insecure about anything in life, but when it comes to my job, I'm really clocked in, and I'm really, I just don't feel insecure with what I'm doing at work. I feel just so certain and you know, in the right place, right time type of thing. And so that just helps in every way. But yeah, I would say my biggest pet peeve is when I'll have a younger employee be like, I can't do this because I'm going to dinner. And I'm like, what is dinner? Like,
why?
You know, but and look, I don't want to get into that mentality of like, you're lucky to have a job and you shouldn't have a life. But this is one of the most sought after industries in the world. And so with that comes sacrifices. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, just actors have sacrifices because they travel and they're away from their families. It's like, well, who do you think is going to that set to interview them in Paris or whatever? You know, the journalists have to make a lot of sacrifices too, but it's for the job. It's for the love of the job. And so when I hear somebody say, I have dinner tonight, I can't make it, I'm like, you made dinner plans?
How dare you?
What were you thinking?
Exactly. We have a red carpet. We have a Met Gala to attend.
Exactly.
So dinner does not count. Who wants to eat anyway?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I always do, but that's a different story.
What makes for a standout email in your inbox? Because you get hundreds per day, correct?
Putting my name in the subject line really helps.
Like, hi, Randy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or just like
I
Rande.
feel like I've done that. I'm not gonna lie, ironically.
I know, I think that you have, which is why you and I have worked together.
That's why
that's the
relationship
connection.
Is what it is.
That's why it works.
Yes.
No, look, you don't need to put my name in it for me to read it, obviously. But I think subject lines are crucial. I get thousands of emails a day from all these random publicists. And I would say if you put my name in there, I'm like, oh, I know you. You know me.
Right.
And having the email just be a little bit personalized. It's kind of like when you're applying for a job, right? You tweak your resume just a little bit to fit that position. The pitch email, if I can tell that it was a copy and paste job, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit. Part of it has to be the media alert. Part of it has to be copy and paste. I know that how that works. But the initial message, I love an acknowledgement of like, hey, Randy, hope you're doing well. It was great since we last worked on X, Y, and Z project. Have another thing that I think would be a great fit for entertainment tonight because X, Y, and Z. That's the key to it right there. And you'd be shocked. Maybe 10% of publicists really do that.
Oh, no, I'm not surprised.
They mostly just will pitch and it'll say, hi, Randy at the top, and then it's a copy and paste.
They don't, it's like sales. You gotta be compelling.
And look, if the pitch is still really great, I'm reactive to it. But if it's a mediocre pitch, but it's from a personalized publicist email, I'm more likely to reply and be like, how can we make this work? I am a loyal person in that front.
Right.
You have to be in this industry. It is about relationships, and I never want to ignore or piss off a publicist. So that's also, I know that a publicist hearing no is not necessarily the worst thing. Hearing nothing is the worst thing.
Right.
When they get ignored,
Right.
they hate that because then their client is like, well, why did they not get back to you? You obviously don't have a good relationship with this journalist. So I'm very big on making sure I respond and pass if we're not going to do
Which we
something.
appreciate. It's one word.
Just one word pass. Well, I usually like to give some feedback because truthfully, I want you to come back to me and I hope that you come back with something that's more a right fit because I want it to work, right?
Sure.
It's a benefit for me to produce a piece. So yeah, it's really one of those things of personalize that email just at the top. And it's extra work, but it goes a mile. It goes a long way.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, but we have a fun little game.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm ready.
We're gonna do rapid fire. We
Okay.
don't want you. What comes to mind top? Are ready? Most surprising celebrity you've met.
Elton John.
Hardest interview to book.
Oh, the American Pie 20th anniversary, because getting 7 actors to line up their schedules and all be in one place at one time. Wow, that was a lot, but very happy I did that one. The hardest.
One celebrity you never get tired of covering.
Dolly Parton.
And last, red carpet, chaos or glamour.
Can I say both? Like both things can be true.
Yes, it can.
It's hard. It's like the Met Gala. So glamorous, so beautiful, so incredible. Like everything is wonderful about it, but it is absolute chaos. And like when it's over, I am like, get me into pajamas in my bed immediately. So it's really a healthy mix of both, but I love it. Like it's exhilarating, it's a rush, it's exciting, it's painful, it's everything at once, and I live for it.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. Randy, this has been great. I really enjoyed this
This is
conversation.
fun.
This was so much
This
fun.
was
You'll
so
have to
much
come back,
fun.
please.
Please have me back.
Please do.
I love it, and please pitch me now that you know. Now that you know what we're
Subject
looking
line,
for.
Randy. But for viewers, how can they find you and where should they follow you?
You can. I'm not on TikTok. I apologize to everybody.
How dare you?
But I'm on Instagram. How about that? I'm an Instagram person. So that would be at Rande Iaboni. My name is a bit of a mouthful, but it's RandeIaboni. And that's me on
Fantastic.
Instagram.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you.